What's up, guys? It's your boy Zawoki, and I'm making this video just because I've really thought about the whole case today, like really in depth today. And I'm just like, there could have been how many different hopeful altercations, not maybe not altercations, but that Chris Watts could have done into changing the way that this had panned out. And one of them was the worst one, and he chose that. He could have stayed with Shanann, fought it out, found the spark, found the love, found whatever had you, tried to make it work, and tried to change back his feelings because he met a woman, another woman that gave him attention. And it seems like with any man that gets attention, I'm not stating this for anybody, I'm just stating that we've seen kind of a pattern here that when men get attention, they seem to lose the feeling that they have for their significant other, which is unfortunate because when you have your vows and you love your spouse and you want to spend your rest of life with them, it literally states in your vows through sickness and in health, through rich or for poor, through the good and bad. I mean, and that's why the divorce rate is so high. But again, the divorce should have been the first option. No, it shouldn't have been the first option. Rekindling or fixing the marriage. And then lo and behold, Chris Watts is the one that decides, hey, let's have another baby. That might work things or make things work better. And then he met Nicole. Then he didn't want the baby. So literally this man has put himself in the warpath of his own demise. And yet there are still people out there blaming Shanann just because she loved her husband. Yeah, okay, I've seen a few videos and clips where she's kind of like more acting buddy with her husband, but she still wrote to him. She was finding self-help books. I mean, there's like on Channel Zawoki, you're never going to find me dog anybody that cannot defend themselves. I'm not going to dog anybody. I'm just going to say I don't like this person, but I'm not going to completely like go off on them. Now, I am so not liking Nicole Kessinger. I think she has an involvement. I want her to be investigated, but I nowhere have ever said I want harm or negativity come to her. Karma is a different side of things. What you do unto people will return back unto you. She caused a whole bunch of drama and caused a whole bunch of problems. That stuff is going to be coming her way eventually in the future. Karma will make its return. But what's upsetting is people are blaming Shanann. I'm surprised people are not blaming Bella and Cece yet. What, because they were little girls? They probably caused the murder. Like, it's so flippin' ridiculous to hear that people are blaming the victims, the ones that lost their lives, by the man that was supposed to protect them. And people still to this day tell me, why are you so into this case? Because like me and like thousands of other people, we feel like something could have been changed. Something could have been fought for. Something could be done. And yet it's not being done. And it royally pisses. And I've seen people on my page that are like, we hope one day we'll see some type of resolution or possible conviction with NK. And I've seen doubt it, never gonna happen. Like, do you care? There's a woman out there that literally destroyed a family because she wanted to get her jollies off by Googling butt stuff and marrying her mistress and wanting to spend her life with a man that was already taken. Shanann had her life with her man. Nicole came in, destroyed it, and then left. And yet these people are like, doubt it. Never gonna happen. Way to look at the glass half full there, bud. It's just very disgusting how different people are out there, that they're not willing to make a change and make a difference. Now, I've been told and asked and requested by many, many people, including real killers themselves. They came in my stream, fantastic channel, love the channel. They need more subscribers. Go give them more subscribers. They need more for the content they put out. I definitely watched their stuff before and love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Keep on doing what you guys are doing if you guys are watching this video. But we're going to be taking our commentary reaction on this, which is the Watts case video, Unconditional Love, which Shanann gave Chris, but Chris fell out of love because of that other woman, NK, the one that was Googling Amber Fry. Do people hate Amber Fry? How much did Amber Fry make on her book deal? But yet, she's innocent and she's missing. Or I won't say missing, but she's under the radar. Just saying. So with that being said, please join me in this. But before we go any further, make sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel by hitting the white bar icon down the bottom right. Hit that bell icon next to it, so I do post videos like this one. You guys will be the first to know and first to watch, and comment, like, and share. And again, a lot of people have been messaging me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, stating that somehow they're being unsubscribed. That I'm not blaming YouTube, but somehow, like myself, I found myself unsubscribed to Sam and Kobe. I have never unsubscribed to Sam and Kobe. I love their content. I'll watch them continuously. But for some reason, I was unsubscribed. So make sure you guys watch your subscriptions. Make sure that they don't go unsubscribed. Hit the bell icon so you guys can watch my videos as soon as they be published. We have seen a somewhat lower decline, but again, it happens here on all these different channels. But just note that sometimes, for some reason, notifications don't go out, YouTube videos don't go out, subscriptions go unchecked. So make that in consideration. And lo and behold, Rilla Killers, I was subscribed, and now it says subscribe. So I'm going to subscribe again, and hopefully it will stay that way. So that being said, let's get into the video. That looks cozy to me. This video is intended for education. And that's why we do these. It's for educational, entertainment, and for the respectful purposes. We don't do this to like hurt anybody. We want justice. We want something to be done. So please remember, before you go negative and postal and 100% from 0 to 100 on our channels, note that we're just trying to find the answers to this case. And no, it's not done. As much as there are people that say, get over it, move on, go on to the next one, it's not done. When Shanann comes home.
At 1:30 a.m., the Watts home security camera captures Shanann Watts walking up the stairs, wearing jeans, a black cardigan, and a gray t-shirt, while Nicole sat in her car, waiting for her to walk into what she assumed was a safe home. Shanann, exhausted from her trip, kicked off her flip-flops and left them by the door with her suitcase. She began to shed her clothes as she made her way up the stairs to the master bedroom and crawled into bed with her husband. Chris had been sleeping in the basement since the family had returned from North Carolina, but he was in the master bedroom this evening. According to statements by Chris, this is what happened next. Soon after she snuggled under the bed covers, she put her arm around Chris. She started caressing his hand and chest, although it had been months since they had been intimate, and Chris had been rejecting her. He was receptive to Shanann's advances this time. This was for the first time Chris had been intimate with his wife since he started sleeping with Nikki.
I don't think they were
Chris
intimate.
planned for this night to clean up the mess he found himself in. Chris found it easy to shower Nikki with attention when Shanann and the girls were away, but now he wouldn't be able to see her at all if he was still living under the same roof as his family. He felt Shanann would keep him from being with Nikki, and the only way he felt he could be with her was if he got rid of his family. Chris knew he would go through with his plan, even though he had enjoyed the previous day alone with his daughters, laughing, playing, and singing with
Which is
them.
even more
You see, Chris had
sickening.
made up his mind and had to pull through with his evil plan. First, he went to Bella, then Cece, took the pillows from their beds and spit them. Then, believing they were gone, he was ready to talk to Shanann. The affair with Nikki, the anger and disappointment of the drama with his family and Shanann over the years, and his inability to deal with the emotional problems all boiled up to the surface. Chris stared at Shanann for a few moments while she was sleeping, thinking about the life that he was craving with Nikki. The
So
level
then
of
leave.
cruelty this man has. How could anyone have the heart to want to hurt his wife emotionally by revealing that he planned on leaving and no longer loved her
It's like you
before
liked it.
taking her life?
Good quote.
Prison sucks, but so do humans. We tend to make mistakes, and that's okay, as long as we learn from them. Chris Watts never broke the law before this, which makes his case somewhat unique. No priors, no history of domestic violence, not even as a juvenile. Good job, good pay, beautiful wife, good pay, adorable kids, beautiful home, and little Dieter. He took all of that and traded it in for an 8x10 cell
Why?
with a 2-inch mat on a concrete slab. When I watched Chris sitting in that courtroom, it reminded me of how stressed I was when I was facing my charges. I remember saying, "Game over," as his crimes are what I consider to be unforgivable,
They
and
are unforgivable.
knowing what happens to guys like him in prison. Some commenters believe Chris is in general population and doing well, with a cozy little maintenance job. Folks got prison all wrong. There's nothing cozy about it, especially with the type of jacket Chris is wearing in the penitentiary. For Chris to have requested general population,
He's always got to look over his shoulder because he killed children. He murdered his wife. And there's a special place in hell, for one, but there's a special place in prison. And I don't believe he's in general population because they have to protect him because of being murdered by another inmate. Because these guys don't do good with child predators, child killers, women beaters, mother beaters. Like if you do that stuff, you're gonna get it in prison. So, and from what I've found in my documentations and my research, is he's not general population. He has a night shift as a guard, or not night shift as a guard, but a night shift as a mopper, mopping the halls while being supervised by two security officers. They watch him mop. He's a janitor, cleaning toilets, cleaning, and he gave all of that up. The two beautiful daughters, a son on the way, a beautiful wife, for a mistress that had what? Bipolar and daddy issues? It just makes no sense, man. It'd be like me giving up everything I have. My love, my children, my spouse, my YouTube channel, my work, my cozy little den here, all for another woman. It's not worth it. It is not worth it.
he has reached that stage. He wants out, and he knows he isn't going anywhere. PC is like the whole, damn near. With Chris being in general population now, he must align himself with a group. Race and ethnicity play a significant role in prison politics. The consequences of prison politics can be far-reaching. Inmates who don't participate will be dealt with in violence, serious retribution. Dahmer was fed up with PC and demanded to be put in general population against the advice of his attorney, the warden, and everyone else. Jeffrey Dahmer went through Dodge Correctional. I think he would have been safer at the Dodge Correctional Institute, but he landed at the Columbia Correctional Institute in Portage, Wisconsin, a maximum security prison built to house 650 convicts. The facility holds 10 housing units, 50 cells per unit. Usually cells are doubled up, and only the most dangerous convicts are celled alone. African Americans take up 58% of the prison. Whites make up 36%. Dahmer wanted more freedom, or he wanted out. Literally taunting other inmates. Jeffrey Dahmer even got baptized in May of 1994, seeking comfort in religion, the same way inmate Watts is doing now. Seasoned inmates were betting on Watts to request GP. Humans aren't built for that kind of mental stress. Patience. If we can't get to him, allow him to come to us. Just a reminder, we can't escape karma. A warning to all. Karma always finds a way to balance things out. Whispers of a bad jacket in GP could mean a celebration of life party thrown by those closest to you. On your special day, you have heard the law that says the punishment must match the injury, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. In 2017, 26-year-old Shane Goldsby was incarcerated for stealing a police car and happened to be cellies with 70-year-old Robert Munger at the Airway Heights Correctional Facility. John Munger was 5 years in on a 43-year sentence and 65 when convicted. After being found guilty of numerous counts of CM and CP, Munger was arrested in 2019 after a lengthy investigation. Prosecutors presented evidence showing that Munger essayed multiple children over a period of several years and had also possessed and distributed CP. The judge in the case handed down the maximum sentence allowed by law, calling Munger's actions reprehensible. Munger's victims and their families expressed relief and satisfaction with the verdict. But karma had other plans for Munger, you see. Munger's cellmate, 26-year-old Shane Goldsby, happened to be one of his victim's older brother. What are the odds? Shane Goldsby clocked him out at 70 years old in their shared cell, adding 25 years to his sentence for taking the life of the very man who abused his little sister. The Lord works in mysterious ways.
Very strong, real killers. Very strong.
Shanann chose to marry Chris because she looked at him as a safe choice. He basically was at her beck and call and submissive to her. They never fought. Chris hardly ever argued with her or even raised his voice. Very laid back, and Shanann thought they would be together forever. Shanann gave Chris the whole package as a wife. They had always been so happy. Her own anger, despair, and sadness was in full view. Shanann started to cry, and mascara streaked down her face as she told Chris she loved him. Chris told her he didn't love her and wasn't compatible with her. He said he became angry again when Shanann told him if he left her, she would not let him see the kids. According to Chris,
But yeah, the best thing was to murder his children. How did that make sense?
Shanann was used to getting her way. When things didn't go her way, she would revert to threats and anger. This time, though, I was not giving in to her demands. That's when my anger for her began. Years after her telling me what to do and what not to do, Keeping me from my own family for sometimes months at a time were over. Keeping me in the background was over. Chris was not necessarily upset about losing the kids. According to one of his versions of the story, he had already smothered his daughters at this point. His anger was about his feelings of being out
That's
of
why I think it's a
control,
lie.
and he resented Shanann for it. Now he felt empowered to have ultimate control over his wife. Chris spent his entire life being the helpful guy everyone loved and wanted to be around. There was no way he could face being the bad guy. He knew if word got out that he had been cheating on his pregnant wife, everyone would look down on him, and that was not something Chris could handle. Shanann was suspicious about possible infidelity. In a version of Chris's story, she had even said, "I knew there was someone else." Chris blamed Shanann for everything that was happening. His anger only grew thinking about every single time he bit his tongue when he felt belittled or emasculated. Why did it take an affair to come to his conclusion? Everything was her fault. Chris's narcissism and entitlement had reached their peak. Chris was justifying his actions every step of the way, making himself believe that this was her fault so that he could be with Nicole. Chris watched her as she got drowsy, and then he put his hands around her neck, squeezing her jugular vein and cutting off the oxygen to her brain. The horror, disappointment, and heartache that Shanann must have felt watching Chris, the man she referred to as the best thing that has ever happened to her, tightening his grip around her neck, unable to respond, is beyond reprehensible, as the final image of her in life is her husband on top of her, turning red as her eyes pulled with blood. Chris made a decision that he will never, ever be able to make right. And for what? Another woman?
Exactly. And apparently they were only together for 4 to 5 months. And people are still learning about this. And he's got the emotional music. Platform for what? We're fighting for Shanann and the girls.
The Watts case has had a deep impact on the lives of so many people, even today, over 5 years later. The Watts case is a sensitive one for many. Victim blaming and shaming is a harmful behavior that needs to be addressed and resolved. It's okay to have empathy for the Watts family. Cindy and Ronnie, I'm sure they too have suffered immensely. But how about we draw the line if and when the bashing begins by not taking part in it? Many, including myself, believe the case isn't completely closed.
It's not.
I mean, we know it's closed, but it feels incomplete. Even more now since recent revelations discovered by Edward of Behind Criminal Minds. There are channels who, even today, over 5 years later, continue to vilify Shanann, going through her social media history to analyze her every word, gesture, and making up crazy assumptions. The internet goes out of its way to pick her apart as if those who never met her are as perfect as they expected Shanann to be. I've never covered a case so vicious and divided. Even when the offender has confessed, the amount of negative comments I've received for defending Shanann and the girls is pretty disturbing. Everyone has 2 cents. We are all entitled, at the very least, our own opinion. There are some opinions that are better left unsaid, if that's how you even really feel. Please don't be swayed by unqualified statements about someone they've never even met. The many accusations that I've heard about Shanann are preposterous, intending to be hurtful towards her family. This behavior stems from societal attitudes, misconceptions, and biases
That's another thing that pisses me off. They're like, "Oh, Shanann was had infidelity with Chris." No, she didn't. There is no evidence, no nothing, no messages, no nothing that she had that she was with another man. That Chris had, or the baby that Shanann and Chris had was Chris's baby. It's been DNA proved. And then yet people are like, the baby wasn't his. Never gonna see the girls again. Like, get the flip over yourself, man.
From the perpetrator to the victim, it often manifests.
I don't know Shanann's family. I'm not paid by the Rusex. I'm not doing this because some of the weirdest things that they state out there. This woman I've never met. I wish I would have gotten the chance to meet her. But she's still showing so much compassion and so much motivation for people that are in my community, that are in other communities, that still make them live. There are people that thought they were going to give up, but they watch Shanann's videos and they're like, you know what? I can change. I can do something else. I can be a better person. With her death, she is still affecting people positively. But yet there's people that are making fun of her and stating all this bullcrap, hurting Shanann's family. Yeah, okay, I'm not 100% amazing either. I have said things about Cindy Watts and Ronnie Watts, but I can't say anything, or I can't put my opinion on it without people slandering me when I'm not slandering anybody. I said I don't like Cindy. I don't like Ronnie. They're crazy. That's what I said. But yeah, I'm exploited on it.
This mindset not only perpetuates harm, but it also prevents justice and hinders healing for the victim and the families. How about we come together for both families by sticking to relevant conversations about the case?
Exactly. Who cares about
now
all
we
this
got
weird
channels
stuff?
beefing and getting deplatformed, accusing each other, older channels telling their communities that new channels are covering the Watts case because it's easy street. There is not one thing easy about covering the Watts case. The case will have you stranded on a toxic island. Let's not lose sight of what we're trying to accomplish, which is getting the powers that be to take a second look at the case.
Amen.
Shout out Zawoki. How would you feel if your son committed such heinous acts? Would you feel guilty?
She always said a lot of things about Chris in front of me that I didn't like. Like, this isn't the kind of person I would date.
Why would you say this about her?
He doesn't know how to do this, or he doesn't know how to do that. He looks like a skater boy. Look at his hair. Look how much stuff he puts on his hair. It was just on and on and on, and I just got a bad feeling.
And pregnancy, and what did Chris tell you about that? Was he excited?
I know I'm cursed with emotions and crying. I don't mean to do it for sympathy. I'm sorry, but this taking on the Watt case, I thought I could put my 2 cents in of what I believe and what I feel that the direction that they should be going, which is NK. I've never made any videos that were derogatory towards the Watts or Shanann's family, because it's not about Shanann and making her look bad. It's about finding the evidence that we have seen that has been stored and put away and then not looked at. I'm going to post this eventually, where there was a video that D.A. Rourke said what Nicole Kessinger did by deleting and getting rid of videos and messages was incriminative and damaging towards the case, but did nothing. How does that make sense? All of us YouTubers and junior detectives can see that there is something amiss, and we know that something could be afoot, but yet we're going to make videos about Shanann having a baby daddy with somebody else, and Shanann doing this, and Shanann's doing that. Why are we focused on Shanann? Shanann's the one that's gone. Bella and Cece lost their lives because what? Their father wanted more jollies with Nicole? I'm stating my opinion, and I don't have a filter. I want to see justice. And I feel like I'm scared that it's never going to happen. Because those girls and baby Nico deserve it. Including the new girl, Madeline Soto, a beautiful 12 to 13-year-old girl. Lost her lives because what? Some idiot stepfather wanted to get his jollies off with a little girl? I'm so sick of how the world is anymore. And then people just sit around and don't do nothing because it's not in our budget. Or we have to look at other cases. Sometimes the bad is going to squeeze through. That's unacceptable.
No, I don't think he was. I think it was a shock.
What it might do to your guys' relationship, and speaking out like this about a woman who can't defend herself.
Exactly.
But Shanann, I mean, she was. You have to get to know her to be around her. Put it that way.
They absolutely told me over and over and over again about what a wonderful person Chris was and how lucky she was to have him in her life.
Until she wasn't.
Until she wasn't.
Yeah.
Chris has fans based on false information, showing empathy and support while serving his sentence. Even in death, the trashing continues, which is why this case is very hard to cover. There's nothing easy about covering the Watts case. I stepped away from the case for a while, too stressful and divided. Just the mere details of the case alone. Sometimes the comments get to me. Actually losing sleep. Putting myself in one's shoes. How would you feel? How dare they? The divide seems never-ending. I believe it is vital to challenge prevailing biases and preconceptions, creating a platform for conversations that encourage respect for the families. Together, we can contribute to a more compassionate and fair society where victims are heard and protected even after death. The world is still stunned by this heartbreaking case. Why do they believe the offender and his family?
Exactly.
The Watts case will always hit home for many of us. A hard pill to swallow, to say the least. Some folks get really nasty in the comments, as if the truth didn't matter anymore.
Amen.
The offender blames his victim, and what? That makes it true? Accusing me of being biased. Why? Because I can see right through the BS?
That's all I gotta say, man. He sees the BS too. Like, they're drawing at straws, but yet we're drawing at straws because we want to go after NK. That's a good quote too.
Dear Frank, Sandy, and Frankie, I'm sorry for the pain and utter anguish that I've caused your family. This is a travesty that I never thought could or would occur. Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico are 4 beautiful souls that will live on forever in heaven and in our hearts. I know you must hate me for what I've done, and honestly, I would be surprised if you didn't. This is a moment in my life that I will never be able to undo, and it rips me apart every single day. I see their beautiful faces, their beautiful smiles, everywhere I look. When I read to them at night, I can feel them snuggle up next to me like we were at home. I want you to know that I still consider you my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and my brother-in-law, and that I love you all, yesterday, today, and forever. I pray that one day you can have forgiveness for me, but most of all I pray that you have some compassion on my family. They are hurting so bad from all of this, and I know they would love to reconcile, if that is something you would allow to happen. I pray every day that both families can meet at the gravesite, hold hands, pray and talk about great times, share about birthdays and visits and funny FaceTime conversations. I know this prayer hasn't been answered yet, but I know God is working this request of mine in your hearts. Forgiveness is the start of healing, and I pray you can start that process with my
He had to
family.
marry his daughter. and he had to bury his sister. I don't know how you guys talk without.
In the Garden of Hearts, a blossom so rare, unconditional love beyond compare. Through storms and sunlight, a steadfast embrace, a tapestry woven with grace. No judgment resides in its gentle gaze, acceptance and warmth in countless arrays. Through flaws and imperfection, it weaves a love that never deceives. In moments of joy or shadows that fall, unconditional love stands strong above all, a beacon of light in the darkest of night, guiding us with its unwavering light. In every chapter, through joy or despair, unconditional love whispers, I'll always be there. A symphony of feelings, a melody so sweet, a love that makes every heartbeat complete. To my dearest one, a gift from above, a daughter, my treasure, embodiment of love. Your laughter, a melody, dances in the air, a bond so cherished beyond compare. In your eyes, reflections of dreams untold, a story of love as the years unfold. Through every step I'll walk by your side, a comforting presence in life's gentle tide. In innocence, your spirit takes flight, a radiant star in my darkest night. With each sunrise, a promise anew, my love for you forever true. Through valleys low and mountains high, I'll stand with you beneath the sky, a guiding hand in the journey we trace. My daughter, you are my heart's warm embrace. In the tapestry of life that we weave, a bond unbroken I'll never deceive, a love for you, endless and bright. For in your smile, my world finds its light. A love for you, endless and bright. In the theater of trust, a curtain falls, a tragedy enthralls, whispers of loyalty now turn to dust. A chilling wind, a heart unjust, deceptive shadows in a friendship's guise, betrayals echo in mournful surprise. In the garden of bonds, a venomous seed grows a tale of trust that starts to bleed. Promises shattered, a bond left frail, a mournful dance, a sorrowful tale.
So with that being said, guys, if you guys have not subscribed to The Real Killers, please do so right now. Like, this was beautifully done. And that's the thing we need to look at, is we're not here to disrespect one another, to hate on this person or hate on that person or this channel and that channel. I intended to make this crime stuff to find the justice, to find the answers that could be uncovered by close examination, and to go through it with a fine-tooth comb and see the discrepancies and see the BS, especially with the Watts case. This case hits again so close to home. It's because I have 3 beautiful children. Yeah, okay, 2 of them are not biologically mine, but I love them unconditionally. I would do anything for them. I would die for them. My spouse, that I love very much. Yeah, okay, we don't have a perfect relationship. But if you don't have a perfect relationship, you just build upon those hard times to make your relationship stronger. You don't give up. You don't just give in. You fight for each other. It says, till death do you part. Not you caused the death and then death do you part. And that's why this hit so hard with me at home. I feel like, I'm not saying that she's talking to me, but I have some feel in my bones and body that Shanann wants to tell us something. Not just myself, but she's trying to tell us something. She knows something. She can see it. And she's trying to show us. And a lot of people are just looking at the wrong stuff. Why are we looking at Shanann being the bad person? What is that going to do? Those are the people that want the views. What we should be doing is focusing on the things that have not been accomplished, the things that have been overlooked, that have not been looked at. Investigations that were completely BS. A person's interview was BS. That's what we should be looking at. And if you have a discrepancy about it and you don't think I'm right, please let me know. But be positive about it. Say, Zwolki, I don't feel that you're right. And here's why. Not, Zwolki, you're a piece of shh. And I don't think you're right. You can go to hell. Drink some cement. That's what it's literally been about. And it's not just me. There's other YouTube channels that are doing the same or having the same problems. Just because we want the justice. So, very well done, Real Killers. A very well done video. Not because I'm in it, as he mentioned. It was because of Shanann. He got the Shanann focus. Shanann is the focus. Bella is the focus. Cece, Nico, they are the reason why we're doing this. And a family was destroyed because of a mistress. And that mistress is living her life to the fullest. What about these four? I thank you very much for watching. Please take care. Be safe. Please give these guys some love at Real Killers. They did a phenomenal job. And we'll see you guys in the next video. And keep nerding on.